BYU Sports Nation continues. I am Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. We now welcome in assistant basketball coach. On the men's side, he is Will Voigt, a defensive specialist, who is here to help us discuss Egor Demin and the future of BYU hoops. But hard not to start with Egor. Will, what was your reaction to him being selected number 8 overall?
Yeah, wow, it's just, such a cool moment. Obviously a lot of hard work for all of us, but especially him. So I think we all really feel proud to see that. I know everybody was kind of tuned in. We have our sports camps going on, and everybody kind of snuck out to make sure we could watch it live. But we're all really, really proud and excited for him.
Take us back to when you first heard about him, because Travis Hansen told us, hey, he made a phone call to Brandon Santiago and Kevin Young, and like, hey, I found this kid. And obviously he's connected to Russia, having played there a bunch. You hear about this kid, and now here we are. He's number 8 in the draft. Tell us about how this all happened.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I wasn't on board yet, and so Coach Young,
physically, not emotionally.
Yeah. Coach Young had been talking to me about joining the staff, and then I started getting calls from people connected to Egor's agents about like, I hear you might be going to BYU, and I hear they're talking to this kid, and I don't know anything about both the BYU situation and the kid, but immediately kind of like got thrusted into that whole recruiting process as an outsider. So I was around all the NBA personnel at that moment, and they were kind of coming at it from an excitement of having him close by. Obviously it makes it easier for them to evaluate, and then of course when I talked to Coach Young and realized that we were in fact recruiting him, and kind of seeing it all come together was pretty fun.
So let's go to that moment when you are kind of assessing your options, and BYU is one of them. Deciding on BYU, and now where you sit, you look back on that decision. How has that impacted and changed your life and your professional career?
Yeah, that's the beauty of basketball, and I'm sure Egor would say the same thing, right? 2 years ago, it'd probably been hard for him to envision being at BYU and then now being a Brooklyn Net. So, the game can take you to a lot of really special places, and that's kind of how I viewed this journey. So, was not expecting to leave the Spurs organization, but really, appreciative of the opportunity that Coach Young gave me, and have enjoyed it. We've done some special things here, but just how I've been received and seeing how the team is received from the community and across the nation when we travel has been really, really fun.
We're glad you left, Will. We're glad you left San Antonio.
I don't know how hard it was for you, but it's been great for us. We appreciate your efforts.
Selfishly, we're super happy.
It's been great. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
When Egor shows up, obviously, he physically grows. He gains 16 pounds, and he works hard and whatnot. But what changes have you seen physically, emotionally in him since he came to BYU to now?
Yeah, Egor brought a maturity with him that I think was unique, and probably a product of having been at Real Madrid at a young age and having left home. So, I don't think we can take full credit for that. But, leading a team that had success, transitioning to the college game in the U.S., like these are all big adjustments.
The officiating in the Big 12,
right?
It's rough and
tumble. The physicality,
yep.
and the way that certain teams approached him once they had scouted him, and he had to navigate a lot. And it wasn't like, hey, this is just an upward climb and everything was easy. So I think for him, the growth that came from that, right? Like he hit adversity, and he had an injury that he had to come back from, and various things really prepared him for his biggest moments. Not only for our team, but then at the draft combine where he really did well for himself, and I think it's reflected in where he ended up being drafted.
BYU men's basketball assistant coach Will Voigt is with us on BYU Sports Nation. In Kevin Young's introductory press conference, it's been quoted and documented several times, but he said he wants BYU to become the best place for young men to come and develop and get to the NBA. Well, now we're seeing the likes of A.J. DeBonsa and Richie Saunders in his development. You get Robert Wright III. It feels like this is not just a one-off with Egor, it's a clear trend. So how is this happening? What is the magic or the secret sauce, if you will, that is allowing this to happen at BYU?
Well, credit to Coach Young. He laid out the vision for everybody, and probably in those early days there, were some eye rolls, but it starts with the character of the kid that we recruit. So, obviously the professional development and the MBA and all these things are great, but we're mindful of the mission, and we're not going to lose sight of that. So Egor is a great example. A spiritual kid, somebody who's always going to be a spokesman for BYU. I think AJ is going to be the exact same thing. So there has to be a fit, right? It's not like we're just going out and like, hey, let's just find the next great basketball player. So I think what we've done as a staff is try to identify that, like who kind of combines those two things for us, and then we've put together a system here where we show that we can develop them. Our style of play, obviously, everybody can see it's a pro style of play. I think that gives Egor, a huge leg up on a lot of other players. Same for AJ or whoever else comes here. The transition into the NBA game is not going to be a big one because essentially that's how we run it. And then we're fortunate, BYU has all the resources necessary for these guys to develop. So, when you go to the annex and you see our strength and conditioning programs, you see the weight room, you see, the diet plans, all these things, they're almost in an NBA program right now. So I think it's a perfect storm of all these things coming together. And, I believe Egor is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. I think there's going to be a lot more to come.
And we'll always remember him for a lot of reasons. One, just who he is. But two, he was the first. He was the first dude to kind of become that NBA guy, which is awesome. This is perhaps the most anticipated BYU men's basketball season ever coming up, for good measure. What kind of work is going into making sure you guys are ready for a heck of a schedule, and of course to challenge for what you hope is a crazy awesome run in the NCAA tournament?
Well, it feels like last year we were just barely keeping our head above water, right? Like we all kind of came together late. We're all figuring our staff out, BYU out, putting a roster. There's just so many things going on at once. So I think all of us feel a lot better heading into this next season, right? Like there's clarity in so many areas now that we didn't really have going into last season. So, that brings a lot of optimism. Obviously the talent that we have coming in, we're excited about, but also, we've been through it. So, we know how to pace the development with them. We know how to put the group together. There's scheduling aspects that you mentioned now, right, that we know how to pair with the grueling Big 12 schedule. So I think we're much better prepared overall, to have some success.
On the court, what are you seeing during summer workouts that has you just straight up most excited as a basketball coach when you watch the product on the floor?
Well, there's a lot of new guys, and sometimes that can mean a little bit of a cultural rebuild, and I think that's where we've been probably most pleased is our new guys have come in right away, and I think understood the culture that we've built, from a competitive standpoint, style of play standpoint. So whereas, maybe we thought a lot of the summer is just going to be like getting them to learn our standards, they've kind of come in and met them early on. So I think that's got all of us, really pleased, and credit to those guys too, right? Like whether it was they watched this play or we played against them or whatever it might have been. They came in understanding, I think, what we were building and what they would need to do and bring to the table. So I think we're off to, a great start.
Kennard's like, wait, I didn't play you guys. Why are you calling me? Tyler and Nate are like, wait, I thought it was a debut. I thought it was a tryout. I do want to ask you about AJ Dubonsa with Team USA's U19 team. The Hezi one dribble throwdown that we saw. You taught him that, right? That was you?
Yeah, I take full credit.
Clear development from Will Voigt.
Yes, and his jumping ability as well.
Yes, all of that. Those are crazy plays. I mean, we're about to have some fun with this kid, are we not?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody realizes the talent that's there. now as a staff, obviously we're trying to harness and develop that in certain areas, but he already brings to the table a lot of special things. So to me, and I told him this before he left, his competitive spirit though has been really what I've been most impressed with. So you would understand an 18-year-old kid with the hype that he has could come in and maybe be feeling himself a little bit. And from day one, I mean, he's come in, he's worked hard, he's played hard, he competes in everything that we're doing. Like, I mean, he has brought a lot of maturity in that aspect that I wasn't really prepared for. So you combine that then with, these special moves that are going to pop out, and I'm pretty optimistic about the season he's about to have.
When Richie was quoted by someone as saying, "I've never had more open shots," I thought, "Oh, this is good."
Yeah.
Richie shooting open shots is
AJ
awesome.
creates opportunities for his teammates,
Yeah.
and Kevin Young talked a lot about that as well. And now AJ's on the cover of Men's Health, so life happens fast.
That's pretty big.
Right.
That's pretty big.
Right.
Will, great to talk with you. Congratulations on all of your success, and please don't leave.
Thanks, Will.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.